Hey guys, Rob with WePayOffDebt.ca. Hope you're doing well. Want to bring you a story today about my and our family's biggest financial regrets. Okay, so this goes back to 2011. My eldest son was born in 2010, and so he's less than a year old at this point. And we're looking at this and we're like, we want a bigger car. We're driving around in a Sentra. Did the job quite well in a lot of ways, but it was small, it was cramped. We wanted more room for the stroller, for everything else, right? So we start looking around, and we went to the point where we were saying things like, well, I don't want to inherit somebody else's problems. Whoa, hey, look, the brand new 2011s, they've got some great redesign in that. They've got some high fuel efficiency in that. They've made the fuel efficiency better, completely redone in 2011, brand new. So, as you might have guessed, and you may have heard of my story, because I tell this story often, we bought a brand new 2011 Toyota Sienna. Now, absolute base model, right? We went to the absolute base, but still, that was a $32,000 vehicle. And we had no money. So for us, it was zero down. Like we needed to we wanted to keep the car too, for my wife. And so that was zero down, and 32 grand financed. We got it on an 8-year loan that had to be renewed after 5 years. Okay. So that gives you a little bit of context on this thing. An 8-year loan. The thinking was in my brain, I'm like, yes, get the longest loan possible, and I can always chunk more on it whenever I want, right? Pro tip, don't do that. Nobody does that. Like almost nobody pays extra on their debt without some sort of systematic plan to do it. So now fast forward, in 2016 was when we started the Dave Ramsey plan. And in the January, early months of 2016, and we got on the plan and we started moving forward. And it happened that right in there, I needed to renew the van loan. And as I'm listening to the Dave Ramsey show, I'm hearing people who are actually selling their vehicle that even when they owe more on it, they're going to get a loan for the difference so that they can sell their vehicle, use the loan to pay off that. Like, so if they have a 20,000 vehicle that's worth 20 and they owe 25, they're borrowing 5 from the bank on an unsecured loan. They're selling it to somebody for 20. They're taking that with the loan to pay off the car loan, and they're only in debt now 5,000 instead of 25,000. So in one fell swoop, they get rid of 20 grand of debt. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, geez, we still owe right around 20 grand at that point on the van. Like, that'd be really nice to get rid of. Of course, the wife at this point was not on board at all. And so the thought of that was completely outlandish, completely no chance, right? But but this is something I was seriously concerned because I really wanted to get out of debt, and we weren't seeing a whole lot of progress in that first year. But here was the really interesting thing. When I went to renew it, this was 5 years into the loan. It was in the fall probably. And I went to renew it, and I looked up the value of what the vehicle was worth at that point. And then, of course, what we still owed. We still owed about $17,000. And what was crazy was that it was only worth $17,000. They say, oh, good, I'm not underwater. I paid $32 for it 5 years ago. Okay? So in 2011, I paid $32 for it. 5 years later, 2016, it's worth $17,000. Where'd that money go? That's a difference of $15,000, eh? That's a difference of $3,000 a year. Some grade 6 math there for you. 15,000 divided by 5 years, right? $3,000 a year in lost value. Just crazy. It's gone. It was never going to come back. And so now I'm like, shoot, man. Like we paid that $3,000 every single year for the last 5 years, and it's just gone. And we couldn't afford to pay that $3,000 a year. We had other stuff going on. We were in debt up to our eyeballs. We couldn't make progress financially. And $3,000 every year went to nothing, to just the fact that we wanted the new car, that we were not willing to spend 17 grand on a 5-year-old Toyota Sienna. Think about that. All right. I could have, in 2011, bought a 5-year-old Toyota Sienna for around 17 grand. And I would have saved myself 15 grand. Now you could say, well, Rob, I could have, you would have just spent that in repairs anyway. Really? 15 grand over 5 years. I'm going to spend $3,000 every single year on repairs? You got the worst car ever. There's no way. A Toyota Sienna is a very, very, very nice vehicle. You are not spending $3,000 a year unless you got a lemon. Okay. So the point is, all that was just for the sake of having this nice new car. Biggest financial, mistake, regret, only because we couldn't afford it. I hope to one day have so much money that $3,000 a year is nothing to me. Over those particular 5 years, it was a lot. So if you're in a place right now where you're looking for that new car, you're thinking about a new car, and you're like, man, the new ones look really good. And, oh, yeah, I don't want to inherit somebody else's problems. Just think about that. That's a ton of money you are paying. And can you afford to throw that money out the window right now? Something to think about. So I hope that gives you some encouragement, some knowledge, some wisdom today. Shoot me an email, rob@WePayOffDebt.ca. I would love to hear from you. What's your biggest financial regret? Go ahead and comment here or shoot me an email and let me know. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.